Okay, good morning, everybody. So I will present two presentations on two projects that we are involved in. So first, the evolvDSO project, and then secondly, after this presentation, the Electra project. But first, the evolvDSO project. Maybe to introduce myself, I have added a few slides that introduce VITO. So we are a research institute that's based in Belgium. Our headquarters are near Antwerp. And we are doing research in many areas, but I would say that sustainability is like the key component in every part. Of course, I am with the energy unit, and our research focuses on energy storage, electricity systems, thermal systems, energy markets, but also cities in transition. To increase our research, we also formed a collaboration between the University of Leuven and IMEC to form Energyville, and there this is our domain of expertise, let's say a bit what we do. But to come back to the evolvDSO project, this is a European project. The title is Development of Methodologies and Tools for New and Evolving DSO Roles for Efficient DRAS Integration in Distribution Networks. We have 16 partners that are, of course, a lot of DSOs are involved. You can see them here at the bottom, I hope it's clear. We have also 2 TSOs, aggregator, and research institutes, also the evolvDSO, the DSO association is involved in other partners. The project started in 2013 and will end in end of next year. And what do we want to do in evolvDSO? So of course we have all these new distributed energy resources that are allowing and requiring changes in the way that DSOs plan and operate their networks. The questions we want to answer in the project are, what are the new roles that a DSO has to assume to adopt this changing energy paradigm, while, of course, maintaining the necessary quality of supply? And what new services can the DSO provide in the future in order to better support the energy markets? And of course, these new services will probably require new tools and new methodologies. So we also develop some of these new tools to support these new roles and new services. And finally, how does regulation and markets need to be adapted to support these new roles and these new tools in a more efficient energy system? What is the general project structure? So we start from scenarios and future DSO roles. Use cases and requirements are defined for the new tools that would need to be developed. Then we go to field test simulations, and finally to real live field tests. Here you see the work packages that are involved in each of these steps. Where are we now? So we are now middle of 2015. So the first let's say the first 3 work packages are almost done. First work packages is about defining these new DSO roles. I will go into detail more on that later. We've also defined use case and requirements. And work package 3 is on the development of the new tools, which is also kind of ending. Work package 4 is real-life demonstration of some of these tools, and will start shortly after summer, actually. And then, of course, we have the impact assessment and the requirements that are still need to be done. Now, how did we come to these new roles? We started with what are the existing roles and processes for DSOs? What are future scenarios? What is the existing regulatory framework, and what are existing market architecture? And this led us to defining new roles And business use cases, roles defining new smart grid services. And then from these business use cases, we finally came to system use cases defining the tools that would need to be developed also. The numbers you see here are the deliverables where all these things are described and that you can find on the website of the evolvDSO project. Now, roles. What is we've defined an evolvDSO, a role model. And what is the objective of this role model? Is to describe which roles that the DSO can take are new or evolving or increasing in responsibility with the integration of DRS and the development of other smart grid-related technologies. And also the interactions between the roles are described in the role model. So what are the roles now? So first of all, the new role. There's one new role defined, which is called the Distribution Constraints Market Officer. In this role, the DSO can contract and activate flexibilities in order, for example, to mitigate problems on his grid. Then we have some evolving roles. This means that the role kind of exists today already, but the scope shifts more or less or increases more or less. These roles are the neutral market facilitator are enabled. In this role, the DSO facilitates, enables electricity markets. Second role is the data manager. In this role, data is collected and stored and provided. This data can come from distribution network components, meters, anything that contracts, anything that produces data, let's say. Then we have the contributor to system security, in which the DSO-TSO cooperation is reinforced. Then we have the distribution system optimizer, where network planning and operation processes are improved. And then we have 3 roles that do not really change their function do not really change compared to today, but because of new technology and new things emerging, let's say the amount of work increases. And these roles are relationship managers with customers and other third parties. So it says provide regulated services based on data management and provision. And then the smart meter operator, which does the rollout, maintaining, and decommissioning of smart meter infrastructure. This looks like a very complicated slide, but actually what we want to show here is that this role model is not a static model. It's a dynamic model where we also put in the relationships between the different roles. These are the services, and also between other stakeholders in the electricity system, such as the TSO, the BRPs, the grid users, regulators, flexibility operators, and markets. We have markets for energy wholesale, capacity markets, ancillary services markets, and so on. And also we define a distribution constraints market. This market does not exist today yet. In the project is described what this market would look like, or would have to look like in order to provide services for the DSO. Then for every role, we not only looked at the added value for DSOs, but also we looked at the added value for every stakeholder in the electricity system. For example, here we took the contributor to system security. So the innovation brought by this role is that definition of procedures and mechanisms for collaborative assessments of impacts. So collaborative means between TSO and DSO. It defines a cascading process that maintains and improves system management. And of course, it also enables cost-efficient local solutions to system-wide problems. Now, what are the added values, not only for the DSO, so for the DSO, the added value is the active involvement on improving his grid situation. DSO gets enhanced support in the provision of ancillary services, and grid users, they get an enhanced security of supply. So, and for other roles, similar analysis is made in the deliverables. Of course, these roles and adapting these roles involves some challenges that are listed here. So the current regulatory framework now, it does not allow DSOs to contract flexibility. So regulations would need to change to enable this role. And also interaction between some roles, they raise questions with respect to neutrality. For example, if we have a DSO as market facilitator and also a DSO as contractor of flexibility, that could mean a certain problem with neutrality. So in the project is described how this would have to be applied. And of course, certain roles, they do not have to be assigned to a DSO, but they can also be assigned to a certain third party. For example, smart meter operator can be the data manager. In the project, there's then described what's the pro and the con of assigning the role to a DSO or non-DSO, and we try to take a neutral position there. And lastly, finally, the flexibility allocation between DSO, and BRP should reflect a social optimum, which is not so easy always. So what are the conclusions? So DSO roles have to evolve towards an active management approach, which requires more responsibilities to be assigned to DSOs. And this role model defines the framework needed to exploit opportunities brought by smart grid environment and allow the DSOs to carry out these responsibilities. The regulatory framework has to be adapted to enable the DSOs to adopt these new roles. And in addition, the regulatory framework, of course, should promote innovation and collaboration between network operators and other stakeholders in the system. So thanks, this was the first presentation. I can already answer some questions.